Hey there guys, so our new story begins right from where our protagonist, Lost, jumped into a goblin horde to save a little girl. That bravery was printed in her mind. So after she grew up a little, she came back to form a party with Lost. That was such a shocking thing to hear. By the way, she's Narcina, a martial artist. And that's when Amherst came in to talk with her. She wanted Narcina to know that Lost is a healer, but a very basic one. That's why he got the nickname of Ignoramus. And just recently he was kicked out by his party because he can't use area high heal or any antidote spell against poison. So Amherst suggested her to look for someone else. But Narcina was specific about joining in with Lost for a long time, so they formed a party together and registered it in the guild. By the looks of it, she really meant it when she said she wanted to pair up with Lost. So now they begin their first work by taking on a monster hunting job. There's a Mardat dungeon nearby, but it's not finished exploring to the very end, and thanks to that, adventurers from all around gathers here. But Amherst had warned Lost not to take Narcina to the dungeon because she's a newbie. That's why she told Lost to take Narcina to the west where only weak monsters reside. But the field is so big they'll have a hard time finding one, so Lost thought going to the dungeon is better. That's how the two arrived here for hunting, and Narcina started to show off her martial arts skills and took care of a few goblins. Once monsters die, they drop magic stones, which the guild buys from adventurers, but goblin stones aren't worth much, so they have to hunt something valuable to afford a room at an inn. So they went in a little deeper, and Lost saved her from a trap. Years of experience is coming in handy for Lost, but unfortunately they saw an orc up ahead. It resides more deep into the dungeon, so it was weird that one was roaming on the upper floors, but Lost knew they could beat it if they give their best. That's how Narcina took the lead but got a bit injured, so Lost stepped in and took the orc out by himself. So now they got a good haul and returned back to sell it. But Amherst got angry at Lost that he took Narcina to the dungeon and even went to the mid-floor to hunt orcs. That's when Lost revealed they fought it on the upper floors, and Amherst believed it, because a few adventurers had also reported the same thing. But aside from that, Amherst was happy to cash in these stones because a part of it also goes into her pocket. So, when an employees buy stones from adventurers they're in charge of, they get a share from it. Anyways, the amount they earned was way more than Lost had ever made, which becomes clear how he was exploited in his previous party. Well, after that, Lost took Narcina to lighten up and rented a room at the inn he stays. The reason Narcina was so bent on forming a party with Lost is that it saved her back then. From that day on, she made up her mind to become an adventurer and form a party with him. So when she heard Lost was kicked out by his party, she came rushing in. But it seems like he has forgotten about her. Still, it was natural since she grew up and her hair color also changed. But Narcina wonders why people call Lost Ignoramus when he's so strong. It's because he could only use basic healing magic. Previously, when his party was fighting a Hydra, Lost couldn't dispel the poison. He can't even use area high heal, and seeing no chance, his party leader, Margulis, decided it's better to run away from here. Then they blamed it all on Lost, that their failure was his fault, because he can't use advanced healing to support them. They even made a pure, innocent girl point at Lost that it was his fault to kick him out of their party, but it wasn't anything new for him. Lost is an orphan, so most of the time a party he joins and uses him like a decoy in a dangerous situation. At one point, Lost was on the verge of giving up being an adventurer, but that's when he saw the girl in danger and defended her until knights showed up. Seeing that she wished to form a party with him gave him courage to not give up. So he trained under a mentor to become powerful and finally returned back to being an adventurer. And looking back, Lost was happy he didn't give up. If he did, he wouldn't have met Narcina. Then she came to him early in the morning to call him for breakfast, and after that they decided to go to lower floors of the dungeon, where they have to use a teleportation circle. Every labyrinth has one, so Narcina thought if they build it in a city, it could ease up public travel and trade, but sadly knowledge to make a circle has been lost. Then they arrived in the middle floors, where they got a welcome party from a lich. Physical attacks aren't useful on it, but Narcina knew she could handle it. Lost realized it and goes up ahead to distract the lich to make an opening for Narcina. She could use prana, a type of power that martial artists could obtain only after hard training. So they gave another reason to make Amherst happy today and earned a good amount. But when they were returning to the inn, they saw a street brawl. Lately, a lot of troublemaking adventurers were coming to this town, which has become a headache, but they left that topic behind to relax for today. And while eating, Narcina noticed a pillar which had no doors. Lost heard about it, that it was built by some mysterious guy who hired an agent, and that agent hired another agent to build it. So no one knows who built it and why. Well, in any case, two of them then went to sleep, and elsewhere, Margulis brought in a healer to replace Lost and complete their job of killing the Hydra. So with that hope, they came to beat it again, and Margulis told Lyra to go attract its attention towards her. It was such a stupid idea because a healer never goes in front line. But Lost used to do that. In fact, he's the one who chopped off one head of Hydra. Seems like Margulis still didn't realize what Lost was worth. But it was for good, since he was fated to pair up with Narcina. They brought a few good magic stones from mid-floors again, but they would need more members to go deeper into the dungeon. Amherst was right, so on that note, she gave another advice. They are staying at an inn, so Amherst told them to rent a house, because they are making enough money. It would serve as a base of operation, and probably also a love nest. Lost remembers Lighting Blade also had a base of operation where he used to sleep in a storage room. But it was for good that they kicked Lost out. They messed up big time fighting that Hydra. And the reason was so simple. Margulis was always attacking it head-on when he's not strong. And now Margulis also admits that having Lost was useful. So he decided to bring him back because he's the almighty Margulis of the Lighting Blade. So with that high horse, he goes to pick up Lost again, and the way he was acting was so dumb too. For a moment it looked like Lost agreed, so Narcina jumped in. But he was being polite to decline Margulis, as he got a new companion. Margulis got angry with it, and asked Amherst to find him a new member, who can fight in the front lines. And a masked dude showed up to take the place. Margulis decided to test his skills, and he was definitely strong. His name was Shig, and the matter got sorted out just like that. But Armia came with Lyra to discuss something with Lost. She also realized how useful Lost was, so she asked him for help in their fight with the Hydra. But Narcina gets pissed because even after knowing how they all treated Lost, she was being oblivious. But the lady was afraid to be kicked out of the party. That's why she never spoke up. And she doesn't know any other adventurers, so she couldn't take the risk. But now she realized that Margulis was wrong, and still she doesn't want to lose any of her companions. She wished to apologize to Lost for so long. So Lost told her not to feel bad, because he doesn't have any grudge against them, but still he's not going to join them whatsoever. So Narcina asked Lyra if she could convince Armia to leave that party, but she could have done it by now if she could. She's a pure, innocent child. With that, they returned, and Lyra saw Sieg in the party, but he was working undercover as Shig, so he acted like they don't know each other, but seeing him, Lyra was quite happy. And on the other side, Lost and Narcina went to mid-floors of the dungeon again, but after a while when they stopped to have some rest, she asked Lost about the Hydra. So he explained it in detail of how that monster is. Narcina was worried about Lyra and her party, but Lost knew Margulis is strong enough to handle it. But that moron just charges in head-on in every fight, and the new player Shig was doing a good enough job, but he refused to kill it and told Margulis to do it. That way he could earn the credit of slaying the Hydra. So far they were doing good to weaken it as much as they could, but Armia took a hard hit, and because of her inner fear, she started to release something which the Hydra could ingest. Then the Hydra started to eat the mana from the area. Normally, it could only happen in dungeon, so that was odd. And taking it all in, the Hydra started to mutate. Shig said they should retreat, but Margulis didn't listen. And thanks to Margulis was near death, but Lost coming on time saved him, or else he would have died. Then he went to heal Armia and started to form layers of basic heal. In normal means that isn't possible, and Margulis and others were unaware about this. Then after that, Lost Shig. And Narcina decided to take the Hydra on, and asked Margulis and others to stay out of it. 3 of them were powerful, but the mud got in between Narcina and the Hydra. And taking that chance, the Hydra took Narcina hostage to fight only Lost. It seems the Hydra's mentality also got a boost in mutation, so Lost gets in to fight, but soon he too came near death. Then all of a sudden he started to exude a blue mana, and a horn formed on his top, and in a flash the Hydra was cut into pieces, and Lost blacks out. No one knows what that power was, and seeing it, Margulis and his girlfriend again started to sugarcoat him to have him back in the party. They even decided to ditch the newcomer and Armia. But Margulis got the idea that maybe they could earn a bit of money if they sell Armia to a noble, for which Sieg warned them about their intention of human trafficking. He was the adventurer from the main branch of Guild who came to this town to investigate why all the troublemaking adventurers were rolling in this town. And thanks to that, now Margulis and his girlfriend were caught, but Lost asked Sieg to give a pardon to them. They are still idiots who run after money, but Lost believes they weren't like this in the past, so he wanted to give them a second chance, and Sieg agrees. But on a condition that they have to get out of this town anyways. Sieg also had another reason for coming here to investigate. The guild in the capital noticed the manager of this guild branch knows how the troublemaker adventurers are coming here, yet he's silent, which means he's up to something. So he asked Lyra to help him in it, but she wants Armia in the party too, and Sieg agreed, because he also has to keep an eye on Lost. But right there, our today's video comes to an end, so stay tuned to watch more, and for that subscribe the channel, and hit the bell icon to never miss an update.